Easy mode is not so easy. A lot of it comes down to this compounding effect, but it's way slower than we anticipated. If I keep going, if I don't give up and I just keep posting, eventually it will snowball. YouTube will find your people. It will find the right people, and that snowball will start to happen. Just watched a giant video of Seth Godin's book, The Dip. You know how they have that image of the guy digging for gold and he stops right before he hits the gold. Well, even on YouTube, it's like that. When you're posting, like post, and then you get to this, you get right there, you get right there, but then you get a dip. These analytics, man, I'm uninstalling YouTube Studio from my phone. The roller coaster of these analytics is ridiculous. Easy mode is over, right? But is it? Is it really? And maybe you've been doing easy mode and you realized it's not so easy. I literally just recorded an easy mode version of this podcast and had to delete the whole thing because, and I know my hat looks silly. I know. And eventually when we hit 1,000 subscribers, we're going to get rid of the hat. I'm going to do a video with no hat. Okay, I'll be honest. What I've been doing is not exactly easy mode, even though the podcasts are quote unquote easy mode and the vlogs are pretty low effort content. I've really had to struggle to find stories for the vlogs, especially after the fact, because I'm doing it in a way that's probably way too lazy. Let me read this verbatim. According to Roberto Blake, easy mode can work for you quickly if you're already interesting or have an interesting life, you are attractive, or you already have social proof or status. And so if you're like me or most of us here on YouTube, none of these apply to you. Or maybe something is interesting in your life and you didn't really realize like that's your kind of hidden advantage, or what's the word they use? Your unfair advantage. What is your unfair advantage? So my unfair advantage that I have not been taking proper advantage of until recently is that I live in Thailand. I've lived in Thailand for 3 years. This could be my interesting thing. I've just wanted, maybe selfishly, my ego has maybe just wanted to be able to post videos myself and be myself and showcase my personality, I guess, if you could call this a personality, and do it all myself. But I have an unfair advantage, and I've only recently begun to shoot some vlog-ish types of content out in Thailand because, well, I'm still learning how to show up on camera. I've been anxious. I've been nervous about posting. I've been nervous about filming, all of those things. And so maybe you have an unfair advantage, like being somewhere interesting or working somewhere interesting, or you have a talent or skill that's interesting. You just need to get over that hump of being able to film in that location, or realizing all of your videos don't have to be about that thing that is your unfair advantage, but it can be a big unlock for you, especially since you have it. You might as well use it. So we kind of let that out, the unfair advantage thing. And I think that if you have an unfair advantage and you can shoot it in easy mode, that's a super unfair advantage, because some things require a lot of effort and editing and to make it look more interesting. But if you can just do it and then film it, that's even better. My unfair advantage for my Get Songs Done channel was that I could actually make music live, and I could do that in here. So that's my unfair advantage for Get Songs Done. But if you want to listen to my music, it's actually on this channel. As far as attractiveness, you still have to be interesting, have something to say. We can all improve our attractiveness. If you're a guy, like fortunately for us, all we have to do to get more attractive is work out. For females, for women, I know it can be more of a headache. There's so much stuff y'all do that as men, we'll never understand. We'll never get it. But I did want to get into a little bit on why easy mode doesn't work and does work. Okay, here's the thing. I, on a regular basis, hold two different paradigms. I'll hold the paradigm of the thing not working or not being right, and then also the paradigm of the thing being right or working. I can hold them both. I know not everybody has this capability to say, okay, well, this thing has this point and this thing has this point. For me, they can coexist because we're all different and all of our individual realities are completely different, even though we have a shared experience. That's why I'm able to hold these different points of view. I know that everybody has a different point of view, and I might as well just carry a couple myself. So here are the benefits of easy mode. So making the volume of videos that I have been making is probably not for everybody, but it doesn't get easier. Just hitting record, showing up on camera, these presentation skills, these camera skills, if you will, like everybody needs to learn them, especially if you're going to be on YouTube. You've got to be able to present. And even for faceless channels, you need to have that charisma through your voice. You need to have something magical coming through. And if it's not you and it's AI or whatever, if it's one of those channels, then It's really got to be some fancy editing and a really great story. So I've been showing up different just in my walking life. I've noticed that. And it has a lot to do with putting out videos, because once you start doing this and you watch yourself back, eventually you get some good feedback. You see all the rough things around the edges. You see how tough this is, how much you're struggling. But then you also see, hey, you actually did some good presentation. You did make some good videos, or part of a video was good. You made something cool, right? Like you did more than the next guy. Nobody else in your vicinity probably made YouTube videos. Most people that you're walking by have not put themselves out there like you have, which is something to be proud of in a way. As embarrassing as it is, it's something that we all have to go through. I feel like this whole year has just been me going through the cringe factor, just getting rid of it. Like just putting out stuff because I know I have to. I have to be able to show up on camera, even though like I want to put out music and I want to kind of get back to focusing on music more. I know that I have to have these skills anyway. The skill of presenting, the skill of being on stage, the skill of being extra confident. Like I need to get my confidence back, my mojo. And I feel like I had lost that for a long time. It's just been gone. It's starting to come back in small doses. Speaking of music, I know this podcast is for creators in general and video people, but I just put a whole album out of music. It's all the music that's been out, I guess, and one new song. And I've kind of mixed the songs again a little bit so that they're more balanced. So I'm really proud of that. It's been something that I've waited a long time to finish. You know, you shouldn't wait 20 years to make your first album, especially if you're a musician, but it is something I did. And it's a weird experience because like, I just want to have it out. I'm not expecting anything. After putting out a few singles, you realize nobody's really listening to your music. It's the same thing with YouTube videos when you first start. Nobody cares, you know? And so just use it as that moment to really get that feedback for yourself so that you become better at presenting, become better on camera, work on your voice, the way that you project, the way that your voice resonates, the way that you stand, your posture. You start to get that feedback too of like how you look, like. And I know this hat is goofy. I know it's goofy. Y'all need to sub because as soon as I hit 1,000 subscribers, hat's coming off. We're going to go full bald. We're going back to the States for a while. It's going to be cold. So I don't know how full bald I'll be, but I'll definitely do at least one video full bald. Even if your channel doesn't pick up or your content doesn't grow. Look, I've seen this happen. I've seen channels that vlog every day and nothing happens. There's no significant growth. Nothing, like nothing. Zippity-doo-dah. Like they vlogged every day. They're like, hey, I'm going to work today. And like, nobody cares. Nobody cares. If you can't take a week's worth of daily videos or 2 weeks worth of daily videos and just zoom out for a second, and we're going to talk about this. Here's the advantage. Let's just say you keep doing it every day for a while. You've done it and nothing's worked. You've learned something. I hope to God you've learned something. You've improved your presentation skills. You've improved your camera skills. You've improved how to edit. You've improved how to show up on camera and connect with your audience. Maybe you just have less awkward silences, less ums, stuff like that. Easy mode for those of us that are struggling with YouTube. Like you're not going to be able to, like I'm not capable myself of making a great YouTube video until I fix all of these things, you know? And so that's what I feel like this whole year has kind of been for me. Speaking of year and seasons, this podcast is actually going to be in seasons. This entire first season is all about getting unstuck, getting out of your own way, actually making stuff. So if any of that's interesting or you think it can help somebody, feel free to share this podcast with another creator or somebody that you know can make stuff, but like maybe isn't necessarily making anything right now. Maybe send them the first episode of this podcast and help them get out of their own head. And the next season is going to be about growth. I have some things going on in the background. So I'm going back to America, so I'm going to take a few minutes to reboot and work on growing now. I have some ideas for how to grow my music, the channels, everything. You have to learn these skills of presenting, of getting back on camera, of showing up, like these basic skills, the discipline. Gosh, I just saying the word makes me like cringe a little bit, but the discipline of like actually showing up, making stuff, putting out content, editing, like all the stuff that you have to do to make stuff. You have to get over that initial hump and then you can add some more things. So I'm about to do the adding the more things, add the sauce. So that's what's up with me and my content. And if any of this interests you, make sure that you're subscribed because I made a lot of stuff this year. I made a podcast. I made a bunch of videos. I wrote a book. I put out an album. So I've done a lot this year. Maybe I'm not growing. I don't have the success that I want to have yet, but I have got through that initial phase of getting unstuck. And now we're zooming out. We're taking notes. Got a song called Taking Notes, but that's beside the point. We're taking notes on the content that we've already put out and figuring out how to make better content so that it resonates more with you guys, that it's more interesting and all that stuff. Because like when you start and you see your video and like you have too many uhs and ums and all those things that we were just talking about, and you kind of go on tangents, then you're going to have to edit. Like you're going to have to edit. If you put it out like that, you're going to be basically embarrassed. So you're going to have to edit, and you're kind of leaving easy mode territory when you start editing too much. There's a line. Have one or two edits, not too heavily edited. It's real. It's authentic. That's easy mode. So you start having to chop it up like I do. I'm kind of leaving easy mode territory, and you kind of turn into low effort territory. Unfortunately for me, I think the low effort territory translated into my other videos that I wanted to do better. I wanted to make better videos. I just kept making videos with the same amount of effort that I was doing the easy mode videos, and I should have stepped them up because I knew those topics had the potential to blow up on YouTube. So when you know that in advance, that's the video you need to spend more time on. It's all lessons, all things that I've learned. Hopefully you're learning from my mistakes. You don't have to go through this much of a struggle to get where you're going. Another thing about easy mode, the point of easy mode is that you're posting a lot. The research has shown that about 2 to 3 videos a week is the right number for consistent growth, right? If you've got one video going out and then a new one the next day or two, people can come back to it. It's a good amount of time for people to see you and interact with you and become your friend, basically. That's kind of the point. I'm lucky enough for this type of work because when you first start posting, you're just posting into the void, the content void. It's the worst feeling. You put something out there, like put your heart into something and somebody's like, yeah, keep going. And you're like, yeah, okay. But like, why? Why would I keep going? Speaking of the presentation skills that you'll be developing, even just doing easy mode, right? The presentation skills. So important. And I've been doing something different that I don't think you guys know about yet. And I'm experimenting with it in real life. So it's like something you have to do to get the it factor. I've been doing it and I feel like it's a topic that I can talk about because I've seen it enough. I've seen enough of it in person and I've experienced it in micro doses. And I have a whole story about when I was doing an open mic in a loud pizza joint and was able to capture the entire audience. And like that factor, that's the one that you're looking for. Like when you walk into a room and other people look at you, like you want that. You want that as a creator. You want that as somebody that is trying to put themselves out there online. So give me a couple more videos. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you know when the official info on the it factor is out. Again, if you know anybody that's stuck and they're a creative person, but they haven't been making stuff and you know somebody that maybe this podcast would help, make sure you share the first episode with them. It's got all the gems in there about how to get unstuck. First, actually, couple episodes. So share that with them. Anybody can tell you, do YouTube this way. And that way probably works if you execute flawlessly. But most of us, we just don't have that experience. We haven't been on TV. We haven't been doing all this stuff. So please take a step back. If you've been doing easy mode for a minute, take a step back, look at what's working, look at what's not working. Take a minute and think about the video that you want to make. And then go do that video. How are you showing up on camera? What's the best way to show up on camera? Which one of these videos did you show up on camera the best? Did you need to stand up? I feel like I have to stand up to do a little bit better on these podcasts. I have to go for walks to make my vlog more interesting. I learned this stuff by doing it. So, do some stuff. And oh, I forgot to mention this earlier. I have an entire podcast that I recorded and it was just this really personal, more easy mode type of podcast, but it was really just all of my thoughts on content creation in general, the way that I approach it and what I'm trying to do, and a little bit about the it factor and some things I don't want to put on the internet, but I do want to give to you if you're curious about it. So I think I'm going to make a page for that. It may not be here right away, but eventually in the show notes, you'll be able to get access to the unreleased episode because there are also some audio problems at the end of it, but you can still, it's still understandable, but it's just not the quality that I want to put out. But I do think it can help some people that are struggling to create. So if you want the unreleased episode, check that out. And if you're curious how I record and edit the vlogish videos, there's a playlist for that as well on the channel. And make sure you check out another episode.